Hi everybody. It looks like I have time to do something on the superfood mushroom, so I'm gonna try to take a stab at it. Like I said, I love coconuts, as you know, and my second best superfood is the mushroom. I've read a couple different books on mushrooms. I've had a couple of things on superfoods, and there's usually a chapter on mushrooms. The information that I'm getting to you today, just orally, is actually from Nicole Apalian's The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. She has a whole section on mushrooms and lichens, as well as most of the herbs that I've been studying, in my herbalism class. So I'm going to go through some benefits of mushrooms. White mushrooms, just so you know, the white button mushrooms that I use in most of my recipes are just as good as these. These are specialty mushrooms. You can usually find them in natural food stores. I don't know about the regular grocery store, because some of these mushrooms are, mushrooms aren't something that you should just go out into the forest and try to find. I mean, you definitely need to be well versed in idea of mushrooms. There's many mushroom lookalikes that you have to get to the real details to find out if that's really the mushroom, because it could be very deadly and you wouldn't want to find out the hard way. I am actually on a mushroom site on Facebook that I love to be on. Many people, and I think that the top guy, the admin guy, is well versed in mushrooms, and then everybody puts on their pictures on their mushrooms that they find in the forest. I mean, some are huge, or like this big, and it's really amazing. I find it really entertaining. So, but I've read a lot about mushrooms, and I've got one book I read was David Wolf's Superfoods book, and he has a chapter on mushrooms, and it just changed the way I thought about them, because I just never thought that there was that much to them. But now with, since the COVID, people have been buying the mushroom kits and growing mushrooms on their kitchen counter. I read that article in the New York Times. So, it's kind of like a fashionable thing now. So, whatever I know the LSD thing, I'm not into that really, but, that's also why mushrooms have been popular these days. So I'm just going to talk about the health benefits. I think it's amazing to have mushrooms in your life, if you can ingest them in any way, shape, or form. Some of these mushrooms aren't the greatest tasting, so you can have them in a tincture form. It looks like the tincture and the tea form is probably the best way. Like I said, the regular button mushroom is fine to eat. And some of these mushrooms, like lion's mane, they're saying it tastes like lobster. I've never tried the lion's mane, but anyway, going to go through some mushrooms and the amazing benefits of them. And if you can find a way to make it go into your lifestyle, this is probably the best way to do it. The first one is called chaga. Now, chaga is a type of mushroom that looks like a big sore on a tree. It's ugly. It's very ugly looking. It grows exclusively on birch trees, and it looks like a big sore. Like, I actually have a picture of it. Let me see if I can do this. That's what it looks like on the tree. So it looks like, it's like a big, almost looks like a black, like some kind of sore on the tree, but it's actually a chaga. And on the inside, when you cut through that black part, it's going to be like a goldish orange, woody kind of inside. Now, most of these mushrooms, when I talk about them, they're usually, like I said, in a tincture form, which means you'd have to soak the mushroom in some kind of alcohol base for like 4 or 5 weeks. Then you strain it out, and then you have what's called a tincture, which is usually in a small bottle, with a dropper, and you would only maybe do 2 doses. 2 dropperfuls would be 1 dosage you would do maybe 3 times a day or something like that, and it could go in any drink or tea or soup or something like that. So it does look weird, okay? So that's one thing. the actual mushroom grows on the inside of the tree and then it bursts outward. So when you see something, if you happen to be able to idea what a birch tree looks like, that's the one with the white bark and it sometimes peels in the forest, and you happen to see this weird black thing on it that's growing. It's usually pretty big. I mean, it's usually could be like up to this big or more. Some of it grows like long on the tree. And you'd have to like saw it off. You'd have to like saw it off like off the tree. So you'd have like a big piece of it sitting there. But it basically, what the chaga is famous for, and most of the mushrooms are actually, is that it treats cancer through its antioxidant activity. So this type of mushroom is basically for reducing tumors, and it increases the immune system. It's also a strong adaptogen, and an adaptogen helps the body to adapt to change. And when you have a lot of stress, severe stress is normally what adaptogen is all about. So it helps to heal the body itself. It's also antiviral. Flu A, B, and herpes and HIV, it is very helpful with that. It also reduces blood sugar. So if you have diabetes or if you have insulin resistance, you might be good to get a powder form of this mushroom, or like I said, do the tincture thing. But again, it would have to be like daily use of it. It also protects the liver, and if you have hepatitis C, it helps with that. It increases physical endurance. I think in my last soup talk, I was talking about the Chinese marathoners. There was an article in the New York Times about that, how this was around when the Olympics were happening. They are using these mushrooms for physical endurance. It helps you to run longer. So yeah, the endurance thing is a whole other thing. But yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. They're just starting to find out that there's, constituents in the mushrooms, and I think it's the chaga, that they can extract these parts of the mushroom. But I mean, if you want to eat, you want to get all the full benefits of the mushroom, you're going to try to eat as much of that mushroom, not just take out one part of it. I noticed they do that with a lot of herbal remedies, and it's like, getting it from the actual, thing, vegetable, fruit, whatever it is, herb or mushroom, is the best way you're going to be able to, get the best benefits of it. And it also stops the form of ulcers, which is quite amazing, I think. Another type of mushroom is called the lion's mane. Now, the reason why it's called that is because it's like a white, I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. It's actually like a white mane. It looks like a mane. So actually, I think it kind of looks like small noodles, or actually could look like a brain even, but that's what the lion's mane looks like. And so it's kind of hairy looking, but like white. And that's the one that they say tastes like a lobster. I really haven't tried it personally. That I have no idea, but I haven't really seen it like, just that. I've never seen that like live really with any kind of food. But the lion's mane, I have had it in powdered form, actually. I think that's part of the cocoa one that I have. So basically, tastes like lobster. It enhances memory and dementia. That's a big thing for a lot of people now, especially people that are taking care of parents right now. And they're having these difficulties. This is a way to prevent that, or to, you have to start with prevention. Don't wait until you get it. If you have some kind of genetic thing saying, oh yeah, I'm prone to dementia, my mother had it, or my father had it, or my aunt, or my cousin, or whoever, you want to try to prevent that from happening before it happens. So if you're in your 50s like me, or 40s, the best way to try to alleviate these problems is to start early, and to not like wait until, it happens, because then that's harder to deal with. because your body's already compromised. So when your body's not compromised is when you want to do this. So lion's mane enhances memory and helps with dementia. It also helps with MS. Not too well versed with MS, but this lady, Nicola Palian, she has a whole like recipe of the things that she does because she actually has MS and she's an herbalist. And she wrote this book and actually has the formula that she uses every day for her MS and helps her MS stay in remission. So lion's mane and among some of the other mushrooms are in her regimen. So good for MS. Cancer protector. It's a cancer protector. Lion's mane in particular on these particular cancers is lung, esophageal, liver, leukemia, cervical, stomach, skin cancer, colon, and breast. So that's a lot of big ones there. Stomach cancer is, it's just a hard one. I mean, they all are, but, if you have some kind of inclination towards any of these, go with the lion's mane. Also, it supports healthy heart and improves your circulation. It lowers the LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, and it improves fat metabolism. So fat metabolism is a lot like the coconut has that particular feature, which I find is amazing. It will help burn fat more than, if you didn't eat it. So I guess there must be tests or they must have studies that they've done to say that can happen. Supports healthy heart and improves circulation. I mean, that's a big one. I tend to try to keep my heart as good as possible. I know my mother has heart disease, so I do want to prevent myself from getting, any of that. So I know now the mushrooms are definitely helping with that as well. So, next thing is prevents blood clots. That's kind of self-explanatory. There's people out there that have this problem. So lion's mane is a good one to try to incorporate. This one's interesting because it says it's anxiety and stress reducer. So if you have anxiety, and I know even young people nowadays are having so much anxiety, lion's mane, once or twice a week is not going to kill you. It's going to make you better. So, if you have anxiety or stress, absolutely, have a tincture of lion's mane twice a week or a tea. They have powdered, so you could put it in a tea or whatever your drink is, coffee, just throw it in as a supplement. And diabetes and neuropathy lowers blood sugar, improves insulin sensitivity. Of course, this says this must be used every day to get these benefits. All right. That's a lot just for lion's mane, but basically mushrooms alone, like I said, they all have a little bit of these same kinds of things that it can do for you, prevent you from getting. Reishi mushrooms. Now, reishi are those brown mushrooms. They're kind of expensive. I remember I would get them here and there for like some soup or something if it was in a recipe. But it's getting a lot of hype, reishi mushrooms, so they have it's got a lot more availability out there these days. It isn't the greatest tasting mushroom, so now they're trying to put it in powder form. That's the one that I have. I should have took a bag out of. The cocoa, I have a cocoa powder with the reishi mushroom in it. I think that might have a little lion's mane too. And they also have a coffee one. So, chocolate and coffee always try to hide a bad tasting whatever it is. So, yeah. So that's a good way to try to get your reishi in there. This is good for a leaky gut. Anybody who has that perforation, for instance, now there's a thing called villi that lines your stomach lining, that aligns the small intestines, and say these are the villi. That's what they look like when they're healthy. But when you start eating like a lot of processed food and things that burn holes in your stomach, then you get villi that are spread apart like this, And then that's what's called the leaky gut, because then whatever's in your small intestines goes through that barrier and into the bloodstream, and then that makes everything messed up. So a reishi will actually make those villi repair and come close together so that you have your barrier again. And that's an important thing. So if you can get your body healed that way, I would suggest the reishi mushroom every day. Again, another staple for anyone with MS. This is a big one. And I'll just go through some of these here. Lupus, Hashimoto's, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis. That's a big one. Psoriasis and celiac disease. And celiac disease, again, it's one of these that, these are serious illnesses. Celiac disease, you can't eat much when you're on that, even Crohn's too. Reishi mushrooms could help with that. It's going to not prevent, but it will help heal some of those. If you have some of those ailments, that can definitely help with making it a little better. And anti-aging and antioxidant. So most mushrooms do, and I mean most vegetables do for that matter, and fruits. So the last one is called the turkey tail, and I love this one because it looks like a rainbow. They call it turkey tail because it looks like a big fanned turkey tail. So that's the reason why they have it. They call it that. But it also looks like a rainbow because it's like striped like that. I think I have a picture of that too. Let's see if I have it. No, that's the reishi. Here it is. That's the turkey tail mushroom. So this is the one that the mushroom master, Paul Stamets, his mother was, or I guess she was like 85 or 84. Got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he used the turkey tail mushrooms. He's a mushroom mycologist, so he's an expert with mushrooms. I mean, the regimen was quite strict and quite, like she was taking a lot of mushrooms. So, but he got her out of it. So it was an amazing story. So like I said, if you ever look up Paul Stamets, he's got a TED Talk about it, and he had some other extraordinary stories on there, so it was a very interesting talk. But turkey tail was what healed his mother from cancer, breast cancer. Also, it's good for chronic fatigue syndrome. This is a big one, candida overgrowth. So that's a big one. It lowers cholesterol, and believe it or not, it actually is very good if you have malaria. I mean, I'm not going to Africa anytime soon, but I thought that was an interesting one to put on there. So I hope this helps. It helped me. It changed my life because I always try to incorporate mushrooms into my diet as much as I can. In the summer, if I have salads, I put it in salad. Otherwise, I stir fry it if I'm having chicken or some other protein. I'll put it in my eggs. I'll slice it up, put it in my eggs. I'll put it in my soup. I use mushroom broth now for my soups, my bases. I don't use chicken or even vegetables. It's so boring. They're so boring. But the mushroom, it has taste. That's what I really like about it. I mean, it does. It has taste. So you can use the mushroom broth in any gravies that you make. I mean, if you're going to make a chicken broth type of, I used to use chicken broth as my base with a little flour if you're going to make some kind of sauce with your chicken. And now I use the mushroom broth because it's just healthier for you and it tastes better. So why not, right? It tastes better than those other boring broths. Aside from maybe bone broth is a pretty good one, but overall, why not go with the healthier alternative if you know that it's better for you than some of those other broths that are out there. So I hope this helped. Hope you go out and try some mushrooms, get them into your diet. It's well worth it. There's so much cancer out there. Nobody wants to see anybody get that and all those other diseases. So, if you can help make your life a little bit easier or better, mushrooms is the way to go. All right. See ya. Bye.